Welcome to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus. A chilly April Friday here in the Twin Cities, as they tend to be. And a division matchup tonight, the Detroit Tigers visit the Minnesota Twins. Tigers have taken over first place in the AL Central after going 5-1 on a 6-game homestand, including a series victory over the Yankees this week. While the malaise for the Twins after last year's collapse down the stretch, well, it's carried over into this season with several key players off to slow starts to begin the year. As we welcome you to the ballpark, hi everybody, with the former Colorado Rocky Ryan Spilborghs, Trisha Whitaker down on the field. I'm Alex Faust. Well, the vibes for the Tigers were immaculate down the stretch last year. That big surge into the postseason, this young team seems to have carried that over into this year.
They're a fun team. I mean, I'm all in on Detroit. I think you saw them last year with the pitching chaos. That was incredible. And then beyond that, they have some really fun young players. And they're really, when you start thinking about their core, they're about 25 years and less, and they have some service time under their belt. Riley Green, this is his 4th season. A year ago was incredible. 24 homers. Kerry Carpenter, if you've watched him make the transition, he is really a power bat. 932 OPS a season ago, and then Cole Keith, who they signed to a long-term extension. But they were looking for a right-handed bat. They did sign Gleyber Torres this offseason, but the bat they needed the most was already in their organization. Spencer Torkelson, who had 31 homers in 2023, was sent to the minor leagues a season ago to work on his swing. He did it this offseason. He tried to be more athletic, and boy, has he ever. It carried over in spring training, and then to start the year, his first extra base hit, it's a walk-off, like a giant weight coming off this guy's shoulders.
Everywhere he's been in his young career, he's achieved success. He made his debut at age 22, but that was only after a little over a year in the minor leagues. It took a lot for him to go back down to AAA, take that tough news, come into the season with a different swing, a different load-up, and Torkelson has been terrific to begin the young campaign. Meanwhile, for Minnesota, as mentioned, a little bit of a chill in the air, and sometimes this Twins team gets off to a slow start. Carlos Correa, well, they need him to get going. He's healthy this year. That was an issue last season, don't forget. But the bat is just not working right now.
It's not working yet, but it will. I mean, Carlos Correa has a track record of being able to get hot, and unfortunately, he also has a track record of being very cold in March and April. A 622 OPS, lowest among active players since 2022. But what happens once he starts getting going? He will start to rake, and that's exactly what the Minnesota Twins need. 2024, once he got going, you see the numbers, they start to increase. 310 batting average, huge on-base percentage. He has been taking his walks so far, but when he's on the field playing his game, he's a superstar. He's one of the league's best still. Last year, OPS among shortstops, he was second only to Bobby Witt Jr., right ahead of Gunnar Henderson. And when I tell you he's a superstar, I'm not kidding. First 10 seasons, wins above replacement, baseball reference, of course, amongst shortstops, A-Rod, Ripken, Lindor, Larkin, Robin, Jeter, and Carlos Correa.
Pretty good company for a superstar when he is on the field. That's been the big challenge throughout his career. Should be a very competitive year in the AL Central as per usual. The Tigers and the Twins collide for the first time this season. Coming up next on Friday Night Baseball.
Swing and a miss. Schoolboy, 6 shutout. And he makes the play up against the wall.
Oh, what a play!
Wow! Everybody scores. The Motown magic continues.
Motown magic indeed. Last October, as we welcome you back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. Alex Faust, Ryan Spielborgs down on the field. Trisha Whitaker with Spencer Torkelson.
Thanks, Alex Spencer. AJ Hinch told us that you are letting your athleticism drive your swing this year. You changed your stance. How much is that paying off during this hot start?
It's definitely paying off. Just being more athletic, being more instinctual as a baseball player, and trusting my approach and just being free up there. It's awesome.
This team showed grittiness in that postseason run last year. Winners of 7 of your last 9. Is that grittiness rolling over into this year with this hot start?
Yeah, 1,000%. You know, as a team, we feel like we're pretty complete, and you know, we're never out of it. No matter what the score is, we feel like as long as we're you know, putting good at bats together and having fun, you know, we're in every single game. So that's what you're seeing.
Spencer, go have yourself a game. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, back to you.
3 straight series victories for these Tigers, Trisha. And as Spencer was talking about, the change has certainly paid off as we take a look at tonight's starting lineups presented by BetMGM. The Tigers featuring Kerry Carpenter, who has a .391 career average against the Twins. That is the second best among all active players. Gleyber Torres back in the leadoff spot for the Tigers, coming back from injury here tonight. And they will face David Festa, season debut for the Twins as they push Chris Paddock back one day. And Festa will make his first start of the campaign.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing David Festa. He was a minor league pitcher of the year for the Twins a season ago, and he's nicknamed the Slim Reaper. And for David Festa, you know, he dealt with the hamstring injury, and for him, just making sure he comes out this season so far, we'll spill the beans on the Minnesota Twins. A Festivus for the rest of us. We're going to have a little grievance. Twins starting pitching has not been getting deep into games, putting a lot of pressure on the bullpen. And then Micah Hone hasn't had great numbers here at Target Field. It's a new season, new opportunity for David Festa. Pitch arsenal-wise, StatCast is powered by Google Cloud as we watch Festa. Good fastball, commands it really well. Four-seamer around 40% of the time, slider and changeup. What makes the fastball so good, it's not just the velocity. He has elite extension. So as the 6'6" Slim Reaper, the ball gets closer to the home plate when he throws it. So fastballs at 94 really play up higher.
You mentioned it, Billy. The Twins have not been able to get their starters deep into games. They've been ineffective. But despite dropping 3 of 4 in Kansas City this week, it wasn't for lack of starting pitching. Last 3 games, they got 17 2/3 in their starters. 2 runs, just 1 earned, only 2 walks, 14 strikeouts. They will need that kind of performance this weekend against the Tigers. Gleyber Torres missed 10 games with an oblique strain. Back in the lineup for Detroit and playing second base on a kind of crisp April night here in Minneapolis.
It's really nice. Weather early in the season, really hard on a lot of players, and a lot of teams in this division, the American League Central, probably has the coldest collection of ballparks.
Underway, and it's ball 1 from Festa, missing with a 4-seam fastball to Torres. And this was part of that domino effect of Detroit not knowing what they were going to get out of Spencer Torkelson. They went out and, to your point in our open, signed Torres to be their everyday second baseman. As Torres flies this one to right field, Matt Wallner is there. That meant Cole Keith moving over to first base, and that meant Torkelson was out of a job, but he muscled his way into the opening day roster for the Tigers. Twins defense looks like this. Larnach, Buxton, and Wallner left to right in the outfield. Willie Castro at 30 can play everywhere with Correa. Former Platinum Glove winner. Eduardo Julien, Ty France pick up this offseason, and Christian Vasquez behind the plate. First pitch low, just below the knees at 95 to Kerry Carpenter. Don't be fooled by that batting average. When he is making contact with the ball, as he fouls this one off, it came right back off his helmet, it looked like. But when he's making contact, Spilly, it goes a long way.
Yeah, no question. I mean, this is one of the top 5 slugging percentage hitters in baseball. And for Kerry Carpenter, we talked about this in the pregame. He made a swing adjustment. And a lot of what he does is unique to him and Aaron Judge. And now we're seeing a kid with the Angels all going to the same hitting instructor, the teacher man, Kyron Paris. And they have led to more slug. And part of it is loading up all your weight on the backside, keeping it in your hip, and then exploding at the last second.
Popped up. Center field. Buxton barely has to move. 2 flyouts for Festa as he retires Torres and Carpenter, and that brings up Riley Green, who's helped ignite this Tigers offense. Tied for the most first inning runs in baseball, Detroit. +9 run differential in the first inning, and Riley Green 7 for 10 in first innings this year.
And we've seen a little bit of a different approach for Riley Green. He is far more aggressive early in counts.
Two 2-0 to Green, who had career highs in homers, RBI, extra base hits last year. Not to mention his great work in the field. There's a strike.
I like that Festa used a 2-0 changeup to get him back a little bit into the count, but he put it in the back of the player's mind that he might throw it again.
And went back to the fastball. David Festa has been great against lefty hitters. And Green is behind on the fastball. Just 1 homer allowed the last 93 at-bats against lefty hitters. Torkelson on deck. Payoff pitch, and Green spoils it foul.
When Festa was growing up, his favorite pitcher was Jacob deGrom, and he used to always wear number 48. That's deGrom's number. He's obviously wearing number 58.
Another payoff to Green. And Green grounds it right back to him. A 1-2-3 first for David Festa. Getting the start after an injury to Pablo Lopez. Twins coming to bat. Minnesota Twins. Take a look at their starting lineup presented by BetMGM. Carlos Correa had a .333 average at home last year. It's only home game number 3 for the Twins this season. That home average was the 4th best in baseball as Wallner digs in. Not your prototypical leadoff hitter with the build of his. It's 6'4", 220 pounds now in his 4th big league season. He faces Reese Olson, making his 3rd start of the year.
Yeah, coming off a really nice start for Reese, a win in the last one, and had a loss against the Dodgers. I like watching Reese pitch because he has 5 pitches. He has a sinker, a 4-seam fastball. He really has a good feel for how his stuff plays.
He was a hard luck loser in a lot of starts last year for Detroit. As you take a look at the numbers for Wallner over the first 13 games, 11 out of the 13 at leadoff. He's there once again tonight. Timeout called.
I like the fact that Rocco is using Wallner at the top of the lineup because he has the ability to hit for power. He's getting on base. He's really been taking the best at bats out of anybody right now with the Twins. So you want him to get the most at bats as possible.
Wallner strikes out. Spill the beans on Reese Olson.
All right, so a little play on Full House, but not that he has anything to do with it. But when it comes to Reese Olson, you want him to be one of the evil Twins. He's had good numbers against the Twins for his career, and then take a whiff. Lowest whiff percentage on a 2-seam fastball in baseball. So he does get a lot of contact, but that's not where he gets his outs from.
Ball 1 here to Willie Castro. Starting at 3rd tonight for Minnesota. Castro shattered bat. Ball winds up the middle. Trey Sweeney charges and throws in time.
Alex, here's a great example of what a good changeup can do to a hitter. The front to back game, you hear me talk about this all the time. Hitters cannot tell the difference between a fastball and a changeup out of the hand. And for Castro, he thinks it's a fastball, ends up hitting it off the end of the bat. Nice exchange from Trey Sweeney to make the out. Heads up.
Slider and changeup are the key weapons for Reese Olson. 2 quick outs. And a first pitch misses low to Carlos Correa. Talked about how much of a struggle it's been for Correa in the early going. 7 for 47. In 86 games last year, he was dealing with plantar fasciitis throughout, which seems crazy to think with that. He still hit .310. OPS better than 900. Take a look at the Tigers defense here tonight. Carpenter, Green was a first-time All-Star last year, and McKinstry left, right in the outfield. Javi Baez at 3rd. Trey Sweeney, the rookie. Gleyber Torres, Spencer Torkelson, and the rookie Dylan Dingler behind the plate. Detroit is without Jake Rogers, part of a litany of injuries to position players. And that might be something to keep an eye on in the early going, but so far it hasn't really deterred the Tigers much.
No, and they're very happy with Dingler and his ability to receive and hit.
Count runs full on Correa. A.J. Hinch, who was very relaxed when we were chatting with him earlier today. And why not, with the way that his team has played to begin the season, even with that early adversity. Payoff, and Correa takes ball 4. 2-out walk, Carlos Correa.
Give you an idea of what Reese Olson features. We mentioned it's 5 pitches. Slider is his best weapon when it comes to swing and miss. Sinker he uses a ton but doesn't get a lot of chase. The changeup is an excellent pitch. 60% whiff percentage on his changeup.
What A.J. Hinch told us, as you take a look at the numbers for Trevor Larnach here, is that he really wants Olson to utilize all 4 pitches here tonight.
Last pitch was the four-seamer, and the reason why it's so important that Olson mixes up two-seam from the four-seam is that you can get into a little bit of a rhythm as a hitter if I know it's just two pitches. If it's just slider, sinker, I can start to hunt away. So there you go. So two-seam, so you already saw the four-seam, you're like, okay, that has some carry. Now you throw the two-seam off of it and has late movement.
Olson started game 1 and game 4 for Detroit in the ALDS last year. Outstanding in those 2 playoff starts. 9 innings, just 2 runs allowed. And the count levels at 2 balls and 2 strikes to Larnach.
I already pointed out how AJ wants him to use different pitches. So you've seen slider, four-seam, two-seam, and changeup in this one at bat.
Larnach calls time. Olson, one of just a wave of young pitchers for the Tigers. I don't know if you can even include Tarik Skubal in that because he's 28. Olson at 25, part of the youngest starting rotation in the big leagues. AL Cy Young winner, Tarik Skubal, last year. Won pitching's Triple Crown. Wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Led the American League in all 3. 2-2. And Larnach grounds it back up the middle. Olson will make the flip. And the 2-out walk to Correa winds up stranding him.
TV Plus. Well, there has never been a question of Royce Lewis's talent. The numbers prove that. But what he has been through quite a bit in his career are injuries. And unfortunately, that happened again this spring. Just 11 days before opening day, he suffered a hamstring injury. His injury history is certainly not what the Twins would have liked. But here's the good news. He is back to baseball activity now. Royce told me today that it's coming along well and that he is running. He said, my opening day is hopefully coming soon. He said he's playing with the team outside of BP. He's throwing, he's taking defense, and he feels good. I looked at him and I said, yeah, but you're just an eternal optimist, aren't you? He said, yes, I am. And if you know Royce Lewis, you know that that is true. Rocco Baldelli told us before the game that he is making steady progress. And Spilly and Alex, we know that when Royce is in the lineup, this Twins team is simply just better for it, guys.
No question. I mean, Royce is one of the better personalities in the sport.
Better. Elite personality. And I don't think he's ever had a bad day.
I don't think so either.
Meanwhile, Spencer Torkelson had plenty of them a year ago. And you can only imagine what that must have felt like as a former #1 overall pick. 31 home runs one season, and then, well, you have to start over again in AAA. He's put away here by Festa. Marco Baldelli there in your picture. He's led the Twins to 3 division titles, but those 3 guys have not been able to stay healthy together at the same time.
That's the part that's so amazing. It's only 11% of the time they've been able to play together.
"39 games out of a possible 344. Check swing roller from Colt Keith right back to the mound. 5 up, 5 down for Festa.
That is the worst feeling in baseball, is to check swing to the pitcher. Yeah, you get set up, you think you're about to blast a baseball, then you decide, you know what, I'm gonna take, and then you hit it off the end of the bat.
I'll bring up Zach McKinstry, riding a 7-game hitting streak in it today. 371 leading the Tigers on the young season, 4th best in the American League. At the shift on with the lefty hitting McKinstry. McKinstry with a pop fly. Right side, Wallner in front of the track. And it's a good start for David Festa. 6 up, 6 down here in Minneapolis. He's sponsored in part by DQ, the official treat of MLB. Happy tastes good. And by Capital One. Capital One has donated over $1 million to the Jackie Robinson Foundation through its walk-offs program, contributing $1,000 for each Capital One walk-off hit this season. A couple of Jackie facts presented by Capital One. April 15th, 1997, the 50th anniversary of Robinson's debut. His number was retired across all of Major League Baseball. Spencer Torkelson is back at the Tigers dugout having some work done on his glove, it appears.
It might have broke.
Here I thought like laces and everything on there was just for show.
Now they actually keep the glove together. Trainers are usually the person in charge of fixing the glove. Now, he may have this may be his backup glove. While they try to restring it.
So here's Byron Buxton.
Right.
16 strikeouts in the early going for Buxton through the Twins' first 13 games. Did not play the last 2, taking a short personal leave.
In the case of Byron Buxton, you know, he's played every single game that he's been in center field, and we saw him at times that the Twins were trying to use him as a DH. He's an exceptional defender, and that was the concern with him being in center field. He's so aggressive. He ran into the wall the other night in Kansas City on a play that he almost caught, and most guys don't catch that. So he's so physical, but he gets hurt from playing hard.
It's such a tease, this Minnesota team, because of the elite talent from Correa and Buxton, and you throw Lewis in there, and we've already talked about it. Twins fans are sick of hearing about it, of the what ifs and what might have beens, you know, even last year.
Reports, they don't want to hear it anymore.
No. Rocco Baldelli doesn't want to hear it anymore, and he has to deal with it every day. Well, that's the reality of the situation for the Twins, who didn't really make any big moves this offseason. They've developed some nice young players. Buxton takes ball 4. Second walk issued by Olson.
I mean, there's no question when I talk about the Twins on radio, and we've received calls during the offseason. The frustration has been the team is possibly up for sale. We've seen the impact of regional sports networks and what that's done, ticket sales. The main criticism here is from a roster standpoint and overall talent. They haven't. I mean, last year we were watching this team start to run away with the division, and then it was a collapse.
The Pohlad family has solicited bids for potential buyers. Originally, they had an April 1st deadline. That's been extended by 45 days. This is the 3rd longest tenured ownership group in baseball. And whether it's truth or not, you get the feeling that that uncertainty and maybe trying to keep the books in a certain fashion, this is just speculation, but hey, you're trying to make sure everything's on the up and up financially for a potential buyer. Who knows if that's impacting things here. This ball dribbles away from Torkelson. But at the very least, it does feel like there's some sort of cloud right now over this team that continued on from the end of last year.
We were told to pay attention to Dingler's arm, and a good idea of just how quick and fast it is. Usually you don't get a lot of throw behinds when it comes to a hitter on the close side, so a left-handed hitter, you don't love to throw behind him, but it works.
Strike on the corner. The changeup from Olson.
But you're right, Alex. I mean, there is, you know, ultimately it's going to come down to results. You know, Twins fans want to see results. So does the front office.
There goes the runner from first. Pitch low and in. Double clutch from Dingler. And that split second was all that Buxton needed for his 3rd stolen base of the year.
If you're going to mess around with a base runner, you start to put in their mind, okay, I might as well go. And he takes a great jump. Even with the double clutch, I don't think they were going to get Byron.
Count runs full here to Edouard Julien.
And the Twins don't have a ton of base stealers, so they're a little bit station to station.
Payoff from Olsen. Fly ball left side, drifting towards the seats, and a diving attempt into the protective netting from Kerry Carpenter. Tried to leap up and use that to brace himself and winds up hitting the netting.
I love the effort from Kerry Carpenter. He knows he has netting to protect him, and man, he almost grabbed it. Fan almost had it too. It came out of his hands. What an effort.
Payoff to Julien, smoked foul. To your point about the lack of base stealers, actually before then, one more look at the catch.
The near catch.
Near catch. Twins finished last in stolen bases last year, and I don't think either of us expects that to jump up at all or very much this year. Swing and a miss, strike three. Julien down on strikes. And the second K for Olsen tonight. There you go, stolen bases for the Twins. So he's 6 now after that steal from Buxton.
Well, when you're not doing anything offensively, you have to find ways to still manufacture runs. So part of it is also getting good reads.
Rounded up the middle, through for a base hit. Buxton rounds third and will come around to score. That's manufacturing a run. A walk to Buxton, he steals second and comes home to score on an RBI single for Ty France.
It's been a nice start for Ty France. He's hit homers in the last couple games, and for Ty, it's a little two-seam fastball. It stays up, doesn't have the late movement, and Ty's able to keep his hands inside. For the Twins, you get that first run across. Snuck its way through.
Brings up Mickey Gasper, the rookie.
This guy's been a great story.
29 years of age from Merrimack, New Hampshire.
Said he got a haircut today. He's feeling pretty good. Knew he was going to be on TV.
Gotta keep that mustache sharp. It's one of the better ones we've seen.
He had a cup of coffee last year with the Red Sox, did not get a hit.
6 seasons in the Yankees farm system before finally making his debut with the Red Sox. And a liner to short, caught by Sweeney. Diving back is France. And that's the second out of the inning.
Sweeney, I like it. Sets up, thinking maybe he has a chance on a line drive.
So here's the 9-hitter, Christian Vasquez. Vasquez 2 for 19 in 8 games so far this season. And he fouls this off, 0-2. Pretty good numbers against the Tigers head-to-head all time. Final year of a 3-year deal with the Twins. The 3-time World Series winner. 0-2. Up and away. Olsen's 1-2, and he misses with the slider. 42 pitches now for Olson. Andy Fletcher, crew chief, didn't like that one.
It's right at the bottom of the strike zone. And Dingler did a good job at receiving it. Reese Olson's like, what?
Fourth 3-ball count for Olson. Helping drive up that pitch count in the early going. Runner goes, payoff. Vasquez goes the other way for a 2-out hit. First to third, France.
You get an extra pitch and he makes somebody pay. Reese Olson was yelling into his glove, and he was also yelling at the home plate umpire because he thought the inning was over. Olson's now at 44 pitches. Nice piece of hitting from Christian Vasquez right over the glove of Gleyber Torres. And now here's why the Twins having Matt Wallner makes so much sense in this leadoff spot. I mean, he is one mistake and it's a 3-run homer. Now, this is a middle of the lineup bat.
Not only has he led the Twins in on base the last couple of years, want that out of the leadoff hitter, but he's led them in OPS as well the last 2 years. Big spot here to do some damage. Runners at the corners, 2 out. The Twins already up 1-0. That's ball 1. Popped up left side. Long way to go, Carpenter, but he'll have room to make the catch, and the inning is over. The Twins strike first on an RBI single for Ty France. 1-0. Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. Trisha Whitaker down to the field. Alex Faust, Ryan Spilborgh's up here in the booth, and we are joined live by Carlos Correa in the field. Carlos, you got us.
Going.
It's good to have you. Thanks so much for doing this. We'll stay out of your way while the pitch is being delivered.
Sounds good.
As this is blooped into right for a broken bat single for Dylan Dingler. All right, Carlos, last year I know dealing with those foot issues all last season. I heard it was quite painful. What is it like to try to overcome that over the course of a full year?
Well, you know, every injury teaches you something about your body. So, you know, the off season I spend it meeting with doctors and trying to figure out a way how to strengthen the foot and just make sure that, you know, we stayed consistent throughout the whole year. And so far, you know, it's been great. Got a good routine going just to keep those toes and that foot strong. And right now we're feeling solid. Up! In!
Trey Sweeney retired.
Oh, baby, here we go.
Carlos, for you, you've played shortstop over 1,100 games. What do you love about the position?
What I love the most about the position is that you're involved in pretty much every play. The ball gets hit to the outfield, you gotta be somewhere. The ball is on the infield, you gotta move around. You know, you communicate with everybody on the infield, and you know, that's special to me. You just be able to finish plays out here and just spend time with the guys. It's truly special.
Rocco Baldelli says that you're one of the toughest guys that he knows. Long season. How do you maintain that level over a full 162?
Sorry, I didn't hear the question.
How do you maintain just keeping a steady composure over a full 162 games?
Well, man, you know, at some point during the season, you're gonna struggle. You're gonna, you know, your body's not gonna feel well, but you gotta grind through it. And you know, us guys that have been playing for a while, we always know that, you know, you put in the work, you control the process, and at the end of the day, you're gonna get good results. So, you know, it's not just going week by week. It's just one pitch at a time. Focus on your work in the cage. Focus on your work on the field every single day. And when come game time, just trust your talent and the confidence because of your preparation.
Carlos, I know a couple years ago when you won the Platinum Glove, you used a lot of metrics and some of the analytics to position yourself. How much do you still use that, and how much do you trust your eyes?
Still use it. Make sure that, you know, also reading the swings. Analytics are one thing, but you also got to read the game and, you know, move with the pitch and what the hitter is trying to do. So, you know, analytics are great, but also you gotta have a good eye test.
Javi Baez at the plate here. Is there a balance to be had that you feel like in modern baseball between diving too much into the numbers and just, you know, having a feel for the game?
You know, the numbers are great. They give you some feedback, but for me, they're not everything. You know, I mean, I still take pride on finishing plays and, you know, making plays. I know now the game has moved in a direction where being fast and covering more ground is more important than finishing plays. And, you know, you got to adjust with it, but at the same time, you know, you got to take pride on both. Boy!
Baez strikes out.
What have you seen so far from David Festa, the Slim Reaper?
Sorry, what was that?
What have you seen so far from David Festa, the Slim Reaper?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, he looked great in spring training, and now that he's back here, you know, he's obviously pitching very well right now, but he's got a mix of great pitches that actually work in the big leagues, and you know, he's pounding the zone. That's very important. Strike one. Here we go.
How much do you help a young pitcher?
Well, we talk about, you know, hitters' approach and the analytics and all the scouting reports that we have. And, you know, when we're in the clubhouse, we're on the plane, we're on the bus, we're always communicating on what hitters like to do and when they like to sit, how to know all these things. And you just got to read. You know, some hitters you see, you throw a fastball away and it's a ball, and the foot lands late. Well, you get an idea that he's sitting on something soft. And the scouting report is one thing, but you also got to be able to read that. And, you know, I got an old friend that I play with in Houston, Martin Maldonado. He's at the absolute best at that, just following the scouting report, but also reading the game and reading what the hitters are doing at the box.
We're going to listen in here and take a couple of pitches, see how things play out here if the ball is put in play, and let it breathe a little bit.
Sounds good, guys. Let's see if I get a ground ball here.
All right.
Here we go. Keep attacking. Here we go. Está ready, Willie. Oh boy, keep going. Are you guys enjoying the weather here?
It's a little chilly. I'm sure it's a little bit frustrating early in the season sometimes to play in this, isn't it?
Last week it was bad. This week it's kind of warm. It's kind of warm today compared to last week when we were playing Houston. It was pretty tough. It felt like 20, wind. It was a tough one.
Well, at least the wind is still here tonight. That probably makes it a little bit easier.
Hopefully it switches and starts blowing out when we go hit.
That's ball 4. And it's a 2-out walk to Gleyber Torres.
I think kids always want to know, how often do you want the ball hit to you?
I want the ball hit at me every single time. You know, you cannot get DRS or outside of average if you're not involved in play. So I'm hoping for a ground ball every single time. And then I thank the pitcher for it.
Terry Carpenter here, high fly ball, right side, drifting towards the seats, and foul. I got to ask too, because Javi came up to bat here in this inning. You and Javi both involved in the Puerto Rican national team. Got the World Baseball Classic coming up again. You excited for that?
Super excited for that. I didn't get to play the last one, so definitely looking forward to this next one. And you know, my kids are all enough right now where they enjoy the game, and they just love coming to the ballpark and watching the game. So it's going to be an exciting time playing in front of the Puerto Rican crowd. Wait.
How much do you guys practice those back picks?
Never. We never practiced them, but you know, Baskey, he's got a good arm, he's got quick feet, and you know, I guess he gave him the signal right there, and we got to talk about that one. We need better timing on that one.
He's trying to help his pitcher get out of the inning.
Yep.
Still an out.
So he's always one step ahead. That's what I love about him. He's a great catcher. Hey.
High and tight, and it looked like it caught him. Yep, it did. Carpenter aboard, bases loaded.
Just a fastball overcooked inside, ends up catching Carpenter right on that elbow pad. A little break, a little breather. Bases loaded, reset.
Keep attacking, baby. You look great. Keep attacking. You okay, baby? Stay a little out here, guys. So it says private right there.
Yeah. Staying a little bit away, we understand.
Discussing what they're going to throw to Riley Green, great hitter. Here we go. Dime, viejo, ¿ya está saludable? ¿Qué tenía el oblicuo?
Sí, ahí volvió. ¿Está bien?
Bien, bien. ¿Está fuerte, viejo?
Yeah, he does look stronger.
Riley Green.
Boy. Oof.
Pretty tight zone here tonight.
Oh, we got inside?
Yeah, it was in the strike zone.
Look good from here. Boy. That's where the game has changed a little bit. Back when I broke into the league in 15, 2-0 was a fastball count.
A lot of pitching backwards these days.
Yes, sir.
first. France bobbles, flips,
boys.
inning over. Thank you so much, Carlos,
Thank
for
you,
joining
guys.
us.
Gracias, hermano.
Have a good one. Come on.
Right center field. Got it! The Tigers, for the first time in 10 years, are going to the playoffs. It's actually happening.
Man, what a call by our good buddy Jason Benetti.
Love Jason.
Are we going to see him tonight? We might.
If we don't, he's going to know. I mean,
That's true.
yeah, we're
Might
going
have to shoot him a text.
to have to let him know. Thank you, Carlos Correa. Holy moly.
Yeah. That was it was quite the situation because all of a sudden, oh, okay, we're having a nice little chat, and then bases loaded for the Tigers. But David Festa finds a way out of it. We saw that nice montage there for the Tigers as they made the postseason, ending their drought, 9-year playoff drought. On the ground from Castro as Torkelson makes the flip to the covering Olsen. During the break, Tricia caught up with A.J. Hinch. Our manager interview is presented by Sage.
All right, we will start with Olsen. He limited damage in the second to just 1 run. What are you seeing from him so far?
Well, a lot of pitches. You know, obviously he's got to be a little bit more efficient against this lineup. He had a couple of walks that were a little non-competitive, but generally he's a really good strike thrower. We got to get him back into early count action.
Gritty team, gritty lineup. You did load the bases there in that inning. What are you seeing from Festa right now that's making him tough?
You know, he can move the ball around quite a bit. The ball moves, you know, both directions. He was able to wiggle out of that after getting himself in trouble. They had the one big hit whenever we gave him a couple walks. We just didn't come up with ours.
AJ, thanks so much for the time. Guys, back to you.
All right, Tricia. Ground out for Castro to begin the inning. And here is Correa. You know, for a guy, and this is maybe a great example of it. You know, he's wearing the microphone for us, and it's sometimes fun for these players to be able to do that. Breaks up the routine a little bit. Let's not forget what we were talking about earlier. Mired in this big slump to begin the season, but you would never know it. And that's something Rocco Baldelli talked about, how just mentally strong this guy is. All he's dealt with.
I've gotten a chance to know him, covering him in different playoff scenarios, and he is. I mean, he just goes about his business, doesn't work it. It's clear he loves baseball. That is the separator. When guys can remain calm, it's their calm and their confidence. They know, like, relax. March, April, I know I'm not good, but I will get going.
Correa on the ground short. Sweeney to go on. It's also the mindset, right, Spilly, of being a pro ball player and loving this game, knowing that it's a long season, knowing that you will turn it around.
Well, and some guys, I mean, part of what draws them to baseball is the failure. I mean, most people, you think, well, failure would prevent you from wanting to play. For some guys, they love it because they know, okay, I went 0 for 4 today, I failed, but tomorrow I have a chance to do better.
Larnach goes the other way and keeps the inning going for the Twins with a 2-out single. Isn't there also part of it, though, at the most basic level, is the rush? When you do make that sweet spot contact, when you have the big hit, etc.
Yeah, exactly. So like Trevor Larnach, his first at bat, ground out to first. You know, it was the chop, excuse me, swinging. Now the next at bat, you get the inside out rocket to left field, and it feels like all the work you did today. All right, cool, it's great.
There's a drive from Buxton to left field that stays up for Carpenter, and the inning is over. Buxton hit it on the screws, but it winds up right into the glove of Carpenter. GM odds to win the AL Central. Tigers are favorites. Twins right behind them. The Guardians not too far behind Minnesota. Kansas City. Well, that seems like pretty good value, all things considered, right?
It does, yeah. Kansas City, really nice looking team, and the Twins just took on the Royals. They lost, obviously. We've already seen the impact of Jonathan India, but Bobby Witt Jr. We'll watch him play every single night.
Torkelson on the ground, gobbled up by Castro. A couple of moments ago, Trisha Whitaker caught up with Rocco Baldelli. Our manager interview is presented by Sage.
All right, we will start with Festa. He loaded the bases, but he wiggled his way out of it. What did you see from him in that inning?
Well, he started the game pretty strong. He attacked. He was in the zone. He's got good stuff, so he has multiple pitches that he can rely upon. In that spot, I think he fell behind some hitters. Obviously, hit by pitch, things started happening, but I like the way he slowed it down and was able to make a pitch on green and get out of it. I mean, he's still going to mix his pitches, and he did a good job in that instance of doing that.
France and Buxton manufacturing some runs that inning. What impressed you? one run.
Yeah, well, Buck can make things happen. You know, he can use his legs to our benefit. You know, he gets in scoring position, and Ty's been good. Ty's been swinging the bat really good for us. He goes up there, aggressive, gets a pitch he likes, and shoots one up the middle. So we'll take that, especially, you know, good at bat with the runner in scoring position. We'll take it anytime.
Rocco, we appreciate the time.
Thanks, Trisha.
Guys, back to you.
All right, Trisha. Colt Keith here. Festa ahead 0-2. And Keith stays alive. Well, this is I think, the key portion of the game here for Minnesota. Talking with Rocco Baldelli before the game. They haven't gotten a lot of length from their starters, Spilly. And David Festa, innings 1 and 2, he's been fine. That's low for ball one. 1.73 ERA, innings 1 and 2. Third inning on, it balloons to 7.68. Keith down on strikes. Third strikeout for Festa. Second major league season.
Well, and that's the thing. It's his second major league season, so this is the first start of 2025. And for young players, I mean, he was a minor league pitcher of the month in May a season ago. You know, he made the rise really quick to the big leagues. And part of learning is how to navigate a lineup multiple times. How do your pitches work? How can you mix your sequences? And if you don't have command of multiple pitches as a starter, well, how do you get through it? But clearly, after watching him, now my first time seeing him, I mean, the delivery has some deception. The fastball has some carry. Okay, you start picturing this rotation with a healthy Pablo Lopez. We saw Joe Ryan, fantastic game 2 nights ago. They have the potential upside of a really strong rotation.
Bailey over. He's solid. Simeon Wood Richardson has come along as well. He's one of the best rookie starters in baseball last year. McKinstry down on strikes. And a 1-2-3 fourth as Festa navigates his way through the Tigers' order the second time through. Follow the entire baseball season with the Apple Sports app. Real-time scores, I mean real-time, and play-by-play straight to your iPhone lock screen. Fast and simple. Download the Apple Sports app for free on the App Store today. Alex Faust, former Colorado Rocky, Ryan Spilborghs. We got Trisha Whitaker down to the field here with you in Minneapolis. First meeting between the Tigers and the Twins this season. An AL Central showdown. Or Julien against Reese Olson here. Bottom of the fourth, Minnesota up 1-0. RBI single for Ty France in the second, driving home Byron Buxton. And it's France who's on deck here with Julien batting. Ground ball, base hit. The leadoff man is on for the Twins here in the fourth. Time to head to the studio, take a look at other action from around the big leagues. Russ Dorsey, what do you got for us, Russ?
What's going on, Alex? He taking you down to Houston, where Mike Trout hits an absolute bomb off Fernando Blanco to tie the game at 1. Third homer for Trout in the last 2 games, 6th of the season. That ties him for the lead in the majors, guys.
Nothing better than seeing Trout healthy.
Think the position change is going to help?
It could. Now you got to miscue it in Tampa Bay, but I've already been to that stadium. The lights are low, so night games. I mean, it will be a problem. I think there's several logistical problems. The ball got above the lights and he lost it. But I don't care about him defensively. I don't care about Mike Trout. I just want him to play 135 games. So that's a day off once a week. Okay. And let him hit 40 homers and beat Trouty Trout. The Angels have been a fantastic story.
Out to a great start. Up the middle from France, but in the air. And Green makes the catch. So Edouard Julien, leadoff single in the inning. Let's spill the beans.
Play with Morneau?
I didn't play with Morneau, but I watched him win a batting title. I was broadcast. No, he won a batting title with the Rockies.
Really?
His first year. You didn't know Morneau won a batting title with the Rocks? No. You should know this about your Canadians.
I sleep a little bit on his career. He had a sick career.
You're just implying that all Canadians know each other?
They should, and I mean, he loves the fact that he's from Canada, or no, and obviously, you have a Hall of Famer now in Larry Walker. You also have Fergie Jenkins, so 2 Canadian Hall of Famers. And Edouard was talking about his relationship with Larry Walker, about how Walker, when he was with Team Canada with the WBC, and we already heard, the importance of it to Carlos Correa for playing for Team Puerto Rico. But having a Hall of Famer maybe help you out with your approach, it works.
That's why I was floored to hear when you were just chatting down the hall with Paul Molitor that nobody really talks to him about any hitting advice.
Not as much as he should. I love seeing Molly around. I mean, that guy's swing was just perfect. Small, simple, use the whole field. Actually tried to model my swing in college after Paul Molitor.
Gasper able to hold his swing here. 3 balls and a strike. And he fights this one off. Vasquez on deck in the foreground there.
Julien, all through the minor leagues, his entire career, has been an on-base machine. There's Molly.
Yep. Just down the hall from us. Payoff to Gasper, runner goes, it's ball 4. Well, let's go back to your chat about Canadians and Larry Walker specifically with Edouard Julien.
He's a beauty too, man. I did WBC, he was there, just talking ball with him.
Yeah, Larry's the best.
Remember, he would tell me before the tournament, he was like, 2-1 counts. Just sit off speed, dude. It's just off speed count every time. In the last game, it was 2-1 against the lefty, and I hit a pump off a slider, and he was just looking at me. That's on me, baby.
Yeah, Larry's beautiful. So I have this relationship with Larry Walker, obviously in Colorado, but Larry him and I trained together when I was a minor leaguer back in 2003. And at the end of our training, he treated me like a minor leaguer, right? Like, it took a while for me to gain Larry's trust, and at the end of it, he handed me 2 maple bats. He handed me 2 Larry Walker bats that were basically aluminum. And in 2005, I ended up using 1 Larry Walker bat for basically the entire minor league time that I was there. My first cup of coffee, I thanked Larry Walker. I used 1 bat to get to the big leagues. That bat's in my house, hanging in my parents' home. It's a Larry Walker bat. I had over 100 hits with 1 bat, which is unheard of.
Wow. Here's Christian Vasquez. Runners at first and second, 1 out in the 4th, and the Twins looking to add to their 1-0 lead.
Well, the funny thing is about Larry Walker, he was a hockey player growing up. He didn't know baseball that well when he first started. And there's a story, he's in rookie ball, and he's at first base, and he takes off trying to steal the ball, gets hit in the air, so it gets caught by an outfielder, and he ends up all the way at third, and rather go back, touch second, go back to first, he ran across the infield. He didn't know the rules.
2-1, Vasquez left side, Baez to second for 1, on to first for a 5-4-3 double play, and Reese Olson wiggles out of the jam. It remains a 1-run game. In Minneapolis, Alex Faust, Ryan Spilborghs, Tricia Whitaker here with you. We're pleased to be joined by Casey Mize downstairs in the Tigers dugout. Casey, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Let's talk about the start of the season, especially kind of jumping off from a season ago. How much did last year's momentum carry into this 2025 group?
Yeah, we had a great year last year. We returned all of our guys. We didn't have any free agents, and we added to the group. So You know, it was a really good year to build on, and we're off to a pretty good start this year.
And you're 2-0 to begin the campaign. How's the feel going for you to begin the season, Casey?
Yeah, you know, I've had a pretty good start to the year, which I'm pleased with. You know, put in a lot of good work this offseason, and had a really productive camp, and was hoping it would translate to the regular season, and it has so far. So, just you know, looking forward to keeping that rolling.
Hard hit ball by Dylan Dingler. That's a base hit to left to lead off the top half of the fifth. Let's chat about the rookie catcher here. I know there's an injury to Jake Rogers, and so Dylan's having to get some more reps. So what do you think so far, the young man?
Yeah, Ding's awesome. We spent a lot of time together. You know, the past couple years, you know, he's a very good preparer. He's very prepared for the game. He's got a cannon behind the plate, and he can really hit. And we like his game calling and his preparation. And he is. Oh, there we go.
Sweeney to right, and this will be caught on the run by Wallner. Another rookie here, and I shouldn't say too much of a young man because he's 26, Dingler, and you're 27. This is a young group. This seems like a fun, energetic group down there. Casey, what is the vibe like in that clubhouse?
Yeah, we have a good time. It's a very loose and relaxed clubhouse, and we don't put too much pressure on ourselves. We are a young group who's been together for a while, so very comfortable with one another, and you know, we're just really loose, and we go out there and let it rip.
You guys have arguably one of the best starting rotations in baseball with yourself and Tarek. We'll see Jackson Jobe tomorrow. But give me a sense, you're pitching on Sunday, so as a pitcher, as you're preparing, what are you looking for when you're on the top step cheering on your teammates? What are you watching when you're watching other pitchers pitch?
I don't know, just a lot of different things. Like when it comes to like Reese today, like I love the way that Reese utilizes his changeup, especially right-handed hitters, and I'm always looking to see how that is going to play.
Another one right at Wallner, and having to get back quickly is Dingler. 2 gone.
Yeah, so I think it's just depends on the certain hitters and, you know, things that I might want to do to them, and being able to see if, you know, Reese or Jackson does that to them as well, and see how it goes for them, and it'll help me make my decisions on Sunday.
Do you have any pre-night routine stuff that you like to do, a dinner or something like you're pitching on a day game on Sunday? Is there a different way that you prepare for a day game versus a night game?
I don't think so. I think it's there's not like one meal that I have. I think it's just I like to carb load the night before, just, you know, eating a lot of potatoes and rice or whatever, but there's not like one specific meal that I have. Kind of just depends.
All right, well, it's great to chat with you. The Tigers are off to a great start. You're a fun team to watch. Keep it up and have a good one out there in the next couple days.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Casey.
it. Thanks.
Casey Mize, who had a really tough go trying to come back from back surgery a couple years ago, and has found his way back to being a really effective pitcher. Javi Baez was retired, and so it's Gleyber Torres here as the lineup turns over.
AJ said, you know, with Gleyber being back, he's not going to push him too hard, but he is expecting him to get majority of the starts as he's getting his body back into baseball shape.
Pokes this one the other way for a base hit. Great piece of hitting with 2 strikes. And the Tigers being aggressive on the base paths. First to third, Dingler, as the ball gets away. And that will go all the way into the Tigers dugout. Dingler will come around to score.
This is what AJ Hinch talked about when it comes to the Tigers. They're going to make sure that they try to be as aggressive as possible. The best teams in baseball are aggressive on the base paths. And so that extra pressure, you know, really good job to your point of hitting with 2 strikes, and that's the professional hit. But you're just watching Dingler, you know, first to third, try to force a throw. The ball gets underneath Castro. It was a deflection of Carlos. Carlos deflected the baseball, and then it went under Castro's glove, and then past David Festa.
And Casey Mize right there to be the first one to cheer on the run that scores to tie the game at 1. One in, and Danny Coulomb comes into the game to try to hold this tie.
It's a good spot to bring in Danny because you want the left-on-left matchup against Kerry Carpenter. The numbers are drastically different. However, Kerry this year hasn't been a ton of at-bats, but he does have his 2 hits against lefties have both been homers.
Also keep this in mind. Coulomb is the only left-handed pitcher in the Twins bullpen. So that matchup won't be available later in the game if they want to go left on left.
But it's the right time to do it. You have a leverage spot where the Tigers are trying to take the lead, and Kerry rakes right-handed pitching. So here's your time. Here's a leverage spot. It's in the middle of the game.
Torres off third after the throwing error from Matt Wallner that allowed Dylan Dingler to score. There's a look at the bullpen for the Twins. It's been used heavily to begin this season. 2-1. Fouled off. Minnesota's bullpen was a sore spot for them last year, especially in middle relief. Chris Fetter and this Twins coaching staff looking for a big out here. Carpenter a fly out to center his first time. 2-2. Foul back.
Well, Danny spent a lot of years with the Baltimore Orioles as a big part of their bullpen and ends up signing with the Twins. He also wears a blue glove. The blue glove is significant to him. He has a child with autism.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Carpenter is fanned, and Coulomb comes into the game to get the out he needed, preserving the tie.
Welcome back to Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV+. Well, the Twins are hoping a new home run celebration sparks their offense a little bit. Right behind me, we got Pablo Lopez and Royce Lewis showing you just what that home run celebration is. Yes, that is a Spartan helmet. Pablo's putting it on Royce now. Every time somebody hits a home run, Pablo Lopez is going to put that helmet on whoever hit the home run. Christian Vasquez actually thought of it. He got it same day delivered today, and it taps into the idea of fight or flight instincts, that of a Spartan warrior. They're gonna choose to fight instead of fly in the midst of a tough start to this season. So guys, if it works, it works. Pretty cool new tradition for the Twins.
Love it. Hey, 4-9, you gotta try to shake things up.
Yeah, where do you buy a Spartan helmet?
Same day delivery too. This looks like it clipped, and it did. Now Wallner will take his base. Pablo Lopez, who is on the well, he's out with a hamstring injury, but it doesn't stop him from pranking.
Yeah, Tommy Watkins now has a pants full of seeds.
So Wallner at first. Here's Castro. Tigers tying the game in the top half of the inning. Single for Dingler, then a single for Torres. Dingler going first to third, throwing error from Wallner. So it's an unearned run, and Festa ends his night 4 2/3, 3 hits, none earned. Castro takes inside, 0 for 2 on the night, a couple of groundouts.
Reese isn't very happy with home plate umpire tonight. A couple of pitches that just missed.
Andy Fletcher behind the plate, crew chief. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Castro. What a story for Castro last year. An all-star representative for the Twins as an injury replacement for Jose Altuve, playing 6 different positions last year for the Twins. Oh, and in, count runs full. In fact, he's the first player in Major League history to play at least 20 games at each of second base, shortstop, third base, left field, and center field in a single season. And he was the team MVP, a lot of guys were saying in that clubhouse. 1-1, Castro, little flare, left side, that falls for a base hit. And the Twins have first and second and nobody out in the 5th. So with Correa coming to the plate, a reminder that Jon Hamm stars as a financial titan who suddenly finds himself divorced and jobless. He then starts robbing his wealthy neighbors to stay afloat and gradually gets tangled in a deadly web. Your Friends and Neighbors is now streaming on Apple TV+.
Jon Hamm, big Cardinals fan.
He's like the ultimate St. Louis sports super fan. He's like at every Blues game too. Correa walked in the first, ground out in the 3rd.
This is a huge at bat for Carlos. We've been describing how the early season struggles. Well, he can blow these away with a double in the gap. You don't need to hit a homer.
Another close pitch that Olsen doesn't get a call on. Correa ahead. And Correa to left field for a base hit. Wallner being waved around 3rd. He will score. And the Twins have a 2-1 lead. Correa with an RBI single.
This ball's not quite smoked, but it's a little bit of a hanging slider away. Notice how Correa is able to almost slow down his body, keep his barrel in the zone long enough and then gets it down the left field line. I like the aggressiveness of Willie Castro running right in front of Kerry Carpenter and left.
I'll bring up Larnach, the cleanup man. Baez playing in on the grass at third. The rest of the infield shifted with the lefty hitting Larnach. On a strike. Activity in the Tigers bullpen. Brennan Hanafy.
Hanafy's a big-time leverage reliever that AJ will deploy at any time.
Big swing for Larnach as he's tied up inside.
Now this becomes a crucial at bat, even though it's first and third, nobody out. Twins at minimum have to score 2 runs this inning.
Twins, who enter the day 3rd lowest batting average, 5th lowest team slugging percentage, 5th lowest team OPS. Run scoring has come at a premium. 25th in baseball in runs scored per game. 1-2. Low 2-2. In fact, the Twins held to 2 runs or fewer in 7 of their 13 games played this year. Big spot for Larnach. Strike 3 call. Bottom of the zone. And a huge first out for Olson. That might be it. Indeed it is.
Just a really nice pitch from Reese Olson. He gets the changeup down, then he goes fastball right at the bottom of the zone. It's a strike.
He's left a jam for Brennan Hanafy to try and get out of, but the Twins now have the lead. Presented by Capital One. Jackie Robinson was voted National League Rookie of the Year in 1947, and the award was renamed in his honor in 1987. Celebrating Jackie's legacy during the month of April. Reese Olson's night is done after 4 1/3. He leaves men at the corners with 1 out, and Brennan Hanafy makes his 5th appearance of the season.
Well, this is the matchup that AJ wants. Why? Because Hanafy has an incredible sinker. He gets basically a 70% ground ball rate, so they're looking for a double play to end this inning.
Byron Buxton at the plate.
Now Buxton, as a hitter, when you know you have somebody with a super sinker, you have to look for the ball up.
Castro with third, Correa at first. Buxton, chopper up the middle. Sweeney charges, flips, that's all they'll get. And a run scores. And it's 3-1 Twins.
Hannafy ends up getting the ground ball, but it's weak contact, and so Buxton gets rewarded with an RBI. Sweeney's only plays a second. If he would have tried to go to first, even though he didn't really have the time for Buxton, it would have been first and second.
Hard hit ball to right, a base hit for Julien. Buxton flying around third. He's being waved home. The relay is cut off. And the Twins extend the lead to 4-1 on an RBI single for Edouard Julien. Actually, since he got to second before the throw, they'll credit him with a double.
Yeah, Buxton flying around the bases, little slider, it's up, and Julien just pulls it right down the right field line, his second hit. And for this Twins team, going first to home from Buxton, you get a chance to just see how athletic, how graceful he is.
Talk about a max effort player.
I mean, that's 90 yards. That's taking it to the house.
That's, I think, what's been so tantalizing about this Twins team is to see what Buxton could do when he's healthy, to see Correa, what he can do when he's healthy, in the field and at the dish. And then you hope Royce Lewis can join them. Twins lead 4-1. And it's ball 3 to tie France.
Well, the Twins had the lead on Sunday. They had a 6-run lead and ended up losing a heartbreaker to the Astros.
Ball 4, France. What move does A.J. Hinch have next? Hannafy only able to record 1 out. But you're right, for the Twins, I mean, that was a crushing loss early in a season that was already not feeling right. To have a 6-run lead get away from you. Maybe the Spartan helmet can help turn things around.
Maybe. I mean, the Twins just have to put some quality series together. You care more about winning a series versus trying to win every game.
That's why the first one feels important here tonight.
No question. You always want to win the first game of the series.
Gasper 0 for 1. Walked in the 4th. 3-0. Hannafy having trouble throwing strikes. There's a strike. One from Hannafy. Popped up. Shallow left field, Carpenter underneath it. And he makes the catch to end the inning. But the Twins manufacture 3 runs in the bottom of the 5th. They've retaken the lead. It's 4-1 Minnesota after 5. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Statues outside Target Field, and they're about to get an addition, Billy.
They're about to unveil Joe Mauer on Sunday, and for Joe, last year he got to hear his induction speech, and Cooperstown was there for that. Such a remarkable talent growing up in the area. You know, Minnesota's own. I think he's going to be wearing catcher's gear. Incredible. I love that the Twins do that.
A lot of wrapping that they're going to have to unfurl over there. New pitcher into the game for Minnesota is Jorge Alcala as Riley Green bats. And he fouls this straight back, a ball and 2 strikes. 6th appearance out of the bullpen. Alcala from the Dominican Republic in his 7th big league season. Played his entire career with the Twins. Riley Green 0 for 2 tonight. Trisha, what do you have?
Yeah, guys, Riley Green said during spring that he ate a lot better this offseason, and he said it helped with how he felt when he worked out. And I asked him before the game what the biggest thing was that he changed, and he said, I only eat Chick-fil-A once a week now, so that's a much healthier diet for me.
Smart.
Guys.
But it's so good. I'll tell you what, for Riley Green, just to get a full, you're talking about guys who have battled health issues, just to get a full season of him would also be a huge lift for the Tigers. Coming off a career season last year. Popped up by Green. We'll see if this reaches the seats. Castro runs out of room. All the issues that Green has battled early in his career: fractured foot a couple of years ago, fractured fibula, injured elbow that required Tommy John surgery, a hamstring strain last year. Payoff. Ball 4. And Green draws the leadoff walk.
Alcala has to come in and just, you want to get a shutdown inning after you score a crooked number. So leadoff walk, not advisable. Going to get a chance to see Spencer Torkelson, what he did with his swing. And you know, he was very coy about who he worked with in the offseason. But we pointed out that, you know, part of his swing change is that he's a little bit more narrow with his stance. So his feet are a little bit closer together. He's a lot more athletic. And we have these baseball savant numbers where we can see where his feet are. He's a little bit off the plate. So he has a little bit more space. He says, I didn't realize I was that far off the plate, but I am trying to create more space with my hips. So to give you an idea, so last year was on left. You can tell he's a little bit more wide. He's also a little bit closer to the plate. Now in this year, the left foot is open, so it allows him to see the baseball a little bit better, a little more athletic.
Ball gets to the backstop. Karams back to Vasquez. Green able to take second.
So just to give you an idea, I mean, the depth in the box, most hitters are going to hit at the back of the box, so that doesn't really change much. But for any hitter to make an adjustment with their feet and their stance, their overall stance, it's a huge adjustment. So like a normal person, you might be saying, like, that's not that big of a deal. But for an athlete, when you've always done it a certain way, it's a massive deal. It's a massive change. Speaking of change, a little belt change.
Yes, those are still real belts. Pat Boy gave him his.
There's George Lombard, who's going to be part of another Team USA WBC team as part of the coaching staff with Mark DeRosa. That came out today. Mark DeRosa has Skip Schumacher, Matt Holliday, Andy Pettit, Dino Ebel. A lot of, there's a small change. He just looks more athletic.
So in talking with AJ Hinch, my takeaway was Spencer had to have the courage, A, to fight for his spot, B, to make significant structural adjustments when, as he told us, Spencer did before the game, he had hit the same exact way his entire life.
Yeah, and he was good at it too.
Right. He drafted 1 overall, yeah. Tricia?
Yeah, you guys were talking about Torkelson and the adjustments. Listen to the story AJ Hinch told me before the game. AJ said, I called him when we signed Gleyber Torres in the offseason. I said 2 things. He said, 1, Colton's going to start taking ground balls at first, and we wanted you to hear it from us first. 2, he said, there is a place for all of you on this team. If you make those adjustments, get yourself in a better position to hit more consistently, you're going to be fine. And guys, AJ said that Spencer didn't even flinch or react. He said, no problem, and he went to work.
Say the work has paid off.
No question. I mean, if you hit 30 homers in the big leagues, you'd never expect to go back down to the minor leagues.
Good at bat here. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Torkelson cranks one deep left field. Way back there, but foul. Just in front of the pole.
I think Spencer wants him to take a look. He was standing at home plate, not quite Carlton Fisk. There's the hips, they clear, gets the barrel to it. He sits, he watches, he's like, come on, please. Just missed it.
Eighth pitch of the at-bat coming. And he fouled it off his foot.
I've had a couple teammates that made significant swing changes in their career. Matt Holliday's the one that stands out the most. Again, now you get to see a little bit more of a 2-part swing when it comes to Torkelson. You get the load, see the ball, and then you can freeze your swing if you need to, if it's a ball. Good take. Matt Holliday made a swing adjustment where he included a leg kick and very similar in body type. And then I saw the same with Troy Tulowitzki, completely revamped his swing. Holliday ends up with 300 career homers and 2,000 career hits.
Great at bat here for Torkelson. Battling. Count full. Torkelson, high fly ball, same spot, left field, also foul. Not as much distance on that one.
Yeah, the guys in the Tigers dugout, even though they're down, they know what it feels like to be close to hitting homers, and twice in one at bat.
Who's going to win this battle? Payoff. Inside ball 4. 11 pitches for Torkelson. Fouling several off. And it's back-to-back walks for Alcala.
That was a hell of an at-bat from Spencer Torkelson.
Visit here for Pete Mackey, Minnesota pitching coach. Pitches per plate appearance.
I've always felt that this is a mixed bag when it comes to this stat for one reason why. Pitches per plate appearance is good, but it also signifies foul balls. When somebody's completely locked in, if they get a pitch to hit, they're putting the ball in play. But you're also, if you're within the strike zone, it's fantastic because then you're swinging at pitches that you can handle.
Spot here for Colt Keith as the Minnesota bullpen stirs. Keith, number, third base side. Everybody's going to be safe. And the bases are loaded.
And you couldn't have rolled it onto the field any better. For Colt Keith, you'll take that. Now the Tigers are in business. Bases loaded, nobody out. And the stats, the way that they measure out in these scenarios, the Tigers should score 2 runs.
Infield back. Strike one to Zach McKinstry. Oh, 2. McKinstry up the middle, a base hit. Green will score. Torkelson will score. And the Tigers are within 1.
This is where that leadoff walk comes back to bite you. Then you get the fantastic at bat from Spencer Torkelson. A ball with eyes for Colt Keith, and then another one off the end of the bat. So no hard contact this inning. This ball off the plate. But because it was up, McKinstry has enough to put the ball in play. There's those 2 runs. We tell you, bases loaded, they score 2.
Alcala taken out of the game without recording an out. MLS action continues this weekend. 15 matches for you. Minnesota will head north, the Loons, to face Toronto FC on Saturday afternoon. And Leo Messi will lead Inter Miami into battle against Chicago Fire on Sunday, 4:30 Eastern. And then St. Louis and Columbus, Sunday Night Soccer at 7, all on MLS Season Pass.
Tough position to be put in for Justin Topa, and more importantly for Dingler right now. He knows Topa is a huge first pitch strike thrower. It's 81% first pitch strike, so you have to be ready to fire early.
Take strike one. Ball to strike. 2-hit night for Dylan Dingler. Making his 7th start as a catcher this season, but swinging a great bat. It's been a tight strike zone all night from Andy Fletcher. At least that's been consistent.
And it goes back, you start thinking about this Twins bullpen and the pressure, not getting a ton of length out of their starters over the course of the year. We have seen some quality starts this last week.
Ground ball right side, base hits. Dingler goes the other way for his 3rd hit of the night. Keith around 3rd to score, and the game is tied. Dingler diving back safely into 1st, and just as quickly as the Twins had established a 3-run lead, Detroit erases it.
Low arm slot release, the ball runs right back in, and Dingler, they love his at-bats. And I don't blame him. He's hitting over 400 now on the season. Inside out swing, the aggressive base running from the Tigers. His inning started with 2 walks.
He was taken to the same draft year as Spencer Torkelson, only in the 2nd round out of Ohio State. And after Alcala is unable to record an out, Topa allows a single to Dingler. And now Trace Sweeney.
Yeah.
Twins bullpen allowing a lot of the inherited runners to score. In fact, the highest percentage in baseball to begin the year. On the ground, right side. Julian to 2nd for 1. The return not in time. Another run scores, and the Tigers have a 5-4 lead.
There's just no way to turn a double play on this ball, so Sweeney gets the job done. Julian trying to make a quick turn, but there's just nothing for Carlos Correa. Trey Sweeney runs too well.
And now Javi Baez.
You can imagine from a Twins perspective, I feel like this is why you can't have nice things. You get a 3-run lead and then you cough it right back up.
Twins led 1-0 and 4-1. And Detroit has their first lead tonight. Tough to find answers for Rocco Baldelli right now. Sweeney dances off first and dives back, drawing a disengagement from Topa.
He's definitely going.
Sweeney has yet to record a stolen base this season. Big swing from Baez, 2-1.
Javi never gets cheated with his swing.
Baez to center. Buxton underneath it. 2 out. I'll bring up Gleyber Torres. For Javi Baez, being on the sidelines last year must have just been gut-wrenching watching this team make that late season run. AJ Hinch told us as much, that it's motivated him. He is, first and foremost, he cares about winning, and came into spring training this year asking, okay, well, what can I do to help that?
Love to hear that. I mean, sometimes when you are a superstar and you get paid like one and you're not performing, and then you start losing playing time, you can be a tough teammate. But he has not been. He's been a great one.
They've asked him to play a different role this year, in a utility type role. In the modern game, it's not nearly as much of a swear word as AJ Hinch described it to us as it used to be. But it's still not comfortable for a player used to a certain role. Runner goes, pitch a strike, throw down, not in time. Sweeney has a stolen base. A glance over the dugout from Justin Topa to see if Rocco Baldelli's going to challenge.
Really good catch and release. There's Carlos. We're right on the hip. I think Sweeney's in there. The Twins are not going to challenge.
Come up.
Ball and 2 strikes to Gleyber Torres, and he takes low and away on a sweeping slider.
Gleyber apparently had, the opportunity for a multi-year contract, but really wanted to establish his value after his last year with the Yankees and took a 1-year deal with the Tigers.
Torres, soft liner, played on 1 hop by Julian, and that ends the inning. But the Tigers with 4 runs on 3 hits to take the lead. Now, this Tuesday, April 15th, marks Jackie Robinson's historic MLB debut. His courage and determination is as much an example now as ever before. Join baseball in commemorating Jackie Robinson Day and visit MLBtogether.com/42. Capital One presenting facts about the great Jackie Robinson, who was inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in 1962. 9-1-2 due up for the Twins in the 6th, and Beau Brieske on the mound for the Tigers.
Well, Beau can pitch in any scenario at any part of the lineup, and for the Tigers, you can see this is part of what makes pitching chaos so unique. Brieske comes in because he knows you can get to the top of the lineup.
Hard hit ball foul. Pitching chaos early last season, Spilly, I thought was meant to be, well, they had a lot of blown saves. And there was a problem for them early in the year. They finished with 26, but by the end of the season,
the bullpen became an undeniable strength. They finished second in the American League behind the Cleveland Guardians, who led wire to wire in bullpen ERA.
Well, part of it is you have almost a bit of a mad scientist in AJ Hinch. But you also have to be a chief communicator. You have to have the ability to let the guys know why you're facing certain pockets of a lineup. This is why your stuff works well here. And AJ always says it. He's been saying it since last year. Once the players bought in, it allows AJ the freedom to do what he wants, to put guys in a position to get outs.
Just below the knees. Nobody's been getting that call tonight. The other thing that it seems to do is completely deconstruct the hierarchy of the bullpen. Yeah. Nobody's in a, oh, you're the closer, oh, you're the setup man, oh, you're the other setup. No, there is no role for anybody. Be ready. That's the message. To that end, Beau Brieske started 12 games last year as an opener. He also finished 12 games. Check swing from Vasquez. An appeal to first, but he held up, and it's a leadoff walk.
Here's the idea. So Tarik Skubal last year, he went off. I mean, he ends up winning the Cy Young Triple Crown in those pitching metrics. They used 12 different starters, which was tied for the second most. Team ERA was the best. WHIP, the opponent batting average, OPS, best. And this is with starters innings pitched. They were going less than 200 innings for the rest of the season on, which is just nuts.
Deshaun Kiersey's going to pinch run here for Christian Vasquez as Minnesota is trailing for the first time tonight. First pitch swinging for Matt Wallner, a fly ball to center. Green underneath it. I don't know if we're going to see as much of the quote-unquote pitching chaos as we saw last year. And AJ was very upfront in telling us that his approach is going to be slightly different this time around.
For now. But they do have better arms right now with Jack Flaherty being back.
Runner goes from first, pitch low and away. Throw to second, not in time. Stolen base for Deshaun Kiersey.
Well, I love seeing this because the Twins have to put some pressure on the Tigers. AJ saying, hold up a second. Let's see if Trey didn't get the tag on him. No way. Unless he came off the bag, we'll keep an eye on him. If he fell off at all, if they pushed his hand off, no. It's a big bag.
Pizza box.
That's why you wear oven mitts.
Twins with a man in scoring position for Willie Castro.
Let's see if Kiersey, if there's any sort of ball in the dirt, if he'd be willing to take a little bit of a shot.
And Kiersey can fly.
Yeah, most base stealers aren't going to try to steal third base with a left-handed hitter just because the open side for a catcher, it's really easy for them to make the stronger throw.
Rookie from San Diego, went to the University of Utah. There's a strike to Castro. Spray chart last 100 balls for Castro, showing a tendency to pull. Time winding down to the pitch clock for Brieske, and he'll step off. Castro, ground ball right side. Torres backpedaling, makes the play. Kiersey gets the third. Let's head back to the studio for another update from action around the league. Russ Dorsey, what do you have?
What's going on, Alex? We got Gabriel Arias, Guardians and Royals. Hits an opposite field 3-run shot, and he knew he got it to give the Guardians a 3-0 lead. They go on to win it 7-0. 4th win in a row for the Guards, guys.
Yeah, got off to a slow start, Russ, but right back up there with Detroit. Just a game back in the loss column. I have a feeling, I think we both do, Spilly, that this is still going to be a very competitive division. Your pick would be out of the 4, what, Kansas City? And we say 4 because, you know, the White Sox are who they are.
They're a work in progress. They're under construction. They're waiting for permit.
What do you know about that? Correa. 0-2.
Yeah, this division's going to fluctuate. And last year, unfortunately, you know, to your point about the White Sox, the division beat them up. And part of the reason why you had 3 teams in the postseason was because of the records against the White Sox. Tigers went 12-1. Royals went 12-1. And the Guardians, even though they won the division, they were like slightly above 500 against the White Sox.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, this is why this division had 3 postseason teams, is because of Chicago. So that was the problem.
Skipped in the dirt. And Dingler makes the block. Mason Kiersey back to third.
Hey, that's a subtle play from Dingler. The last 2 pitches in the dirt, but he made sure he kept his body down. When you get down to the knee, sometimes these balls in the dirt are a little bit easier for you to field, but they can kick off. And with a very aggressive base runner, those are 2 subtle, important plays because they're saving the possibility of a run.
Meanwhile, Correa can't catch up to the high cheese. Minnesota leaves a man stranded 90 feet away.
Let's take a summary of the game, summary and cap off the night presented by Miller Lite. Started with the Tigers. They were down 4-1 into the top of the 6th inning, but a pair of leadoff walks. And Zach McKinstry finding some grass, Led to an inside-out swing from Dylan Dingler that gave the Tigers a lead. And that's where we're at right now, is the Tigers lead 5-4.
This Minnesota bullpen that has been forced into a lot of work. Well, it's been a rough night for them. Starting in the 5th inning. Pop back of home plate. New catcher for the Twins is Ryan Jeffers. He takes the place of the pitch runner Deshaun Kiersey. Christian Vasquez lifted from the game. Jeffers does have some home run pop. Ball and 2 strikes here to Kerry Carpenter.
This becomes a pretty important inning for the Twins to just keep this game at 1 run, especially with the meat of the lineup.
Justin Topa remains in the game for the Twins. Carpenter shoots this the other way, and it is off of Castro into left.
Let's see how the official scorer scores this one. Nobody on the left side. You can see Carlos Correa directly up the middle, and for Willie Castro, just that in-between hop. It'll go down as an E5. Right off the thumb. You're talking about how important Willie Castro was an all-star, plays multiple positions. That's one he wants back.
Small mistakes have loomed large for the Twins this year.
Especially because they're not scoring runs. They're scoring less than 4 runs a game, so everything is magnified.
Castro was nearly pushed out of a role in spring, but a couple of their prospects that are coming along couldn't unseat him. Brooks Lee is on the way, although he's injured right now. That would shake things up in their infield.
Yeah, former first rounder out of Cal Poly, good looking player. I love watching Willie Castro play.
Riley Green looking for his first hit tonight. A couple of ground outs, walked and scored in that 4-run 6th for the Tigers. And another foul ball goes the same way to a bunch of fans who are having a great time getting a couple of souvenirs over there. That's why you come to the ballpark.
Yeah, you never know.
Be ready.
You gotta be ready.
Scott Blewett warming up for Minnesota as Green takes ball 3.
Kerry Carpenter has had 1 stolen base attempt, 3-2 count. AJ's aggressive, but not traditionally with getting guys moving. He likes him to go first and third on balls in the outfield.
Runner takes off, and the pitch fouled back. It is interesting you say that, because on the season, Detroit has only attempted 6 stolen bases.
But they're as aggressive as any team on the base paths.
Last year, the highest percentage of extra bases taken in the big leagues. Runner goes again. Green taps one up the first base side and will be tagged out by France. So Carpenter gets to second. Spencer Torkelson coming to the plate. StatCast powered by Google Cloud.
Yeah, this is a fun stat to see where Torkelson is. 3rd in baseball in sweet spot. So that launch angle, right around 51% of the time, he's finding the sweet spot. So quick conversation from Jeffers and Topa.
I thought there was a great line from AJ Hinch earlier today about Torkelson. He said, "I like his takes more than his swings." What did he mean by that?
If you're landing soft on your front foot, so if you have these heavy takes, so a heavy take means you're loading up, you're falling forward, you land hard, you only have one move you can do. You don't have time to take a pitch. You can't see, like when you picture Juan Soto, you picture him soft, lands on the front foot soft, and then he does his little shuffle. But when you're landing hard and your takes aren't in that rhythm where the foot gets down and you can see the pitch and then you have a decision to fire, there's only one move you can do. You either swing or you don't.
Ground ball left side. Castro looks the runner back and throws across in time. 2 gone in the 7th.
Yeah, it's fun watching a guy like Spencer Torkelson and how his swing adjustments. There it is, landing soft on that front foot. He's caught it a little deep. You want the party out in front.
I'll bring up Colt Keith. Keith, who maintains rookie eligibility. Actually, no, I'm mistaken on that. I'm going to cross that out. I don't know why I had that in my notes. Play a full year.
It might have been Trey Sweeney.
Yeah, it was Trey Sweeney. That's what I meant.
Yeah, Keith signed an extension before the season even started.
Yep. 6 years, $28 million.
And what's amazing is Colt Keith's background, he was a wrestler, like Louis Varland with Minnesota Twins.
Remember that story, yeah.
Both these teams have some players with really unique backgrounds, like Joe Ryan, water polo player in high school.
Griffin Jacks, Air Force Academy.
Yep, him and his wife, they both officers in the Air Force.
Foul back this way. Yeah, we talk about the contract situations. No experience at the major league level, signing a contract extension. Jackson Chourio, a recent one. Colt Keith, without playing a single game in the big leagues, gets a 6-year contract.
Yeah, some of these work, some of them don't. I mean, in the case of Chourio and Luis Robert, those have worked out pretty well.
It's been a tight zone tonight from Andy Fletcher.
Very tight. I think the trouble he's had so far are those 2-seam fastballs that clip the corner at the end.
This is where you'd love to have a challenge in your back pocket.
And you'll see it in a year.
Yep. Can't wait. And not because the umpires are doing a bad job by and large, they're great. Just, you know, occasionally, a little nudge, a little help. Out straight back. And I do think baseball has done a really good job, too, of identifying and charting out who's doing well. Payoff from Keith. And Keith shoots this the other way. It'll fall for a base hit in front of Larnach. Throw home, not in time. RBI single for Colt Keith to extend the Tigers' lead.
And now it goes back again. You miss a pitch, you get an extra one. And for Colt Keith, stays inside a cutter. I love watching Zach McKinstry really coaching up Kerry Carpenter. You can almost hear him scream, like, get down.
Justin Topa will be taken out of the game. Minnesota to the bullpen once again. Largest selection of jerseys, caps, collectibles, and more at MLBShop.com. New pitcher Scott Blewett comes out of the bullpen for Minnesota. Second appearance for the Twins this season. And he faces Zach McKinstry, who extended his hit streak to 8 games in a row with a 2-run single in the 6th. Keith off first. Blocked by Jeffers.
Thing is, you're watching Twins. I mean, tonight, another example. You know, we mentioned how the starter's not getting deep into the game. David Fessa threw 64 pitches, but then you have to go to lefty Dan Coulomb to try to get out of the Kerry Carpenter at bat, and it starts to back up. Every time you open up the gate to the bullpen, you have to. Your fingers are crossed that you can get a clean inning.
So I was asking you about this earlier in the game, especially given the pitch count for Festa at the time. As finally the Twins get out of the inning. Well, their bullpen has been beleaguered.
What's up, guys? How's it going? Riley Green, great hitter.
First, France flips, inning over.
Oh, boy.
And Correa to left field. Buxton flying around third.
3-run lead, and then he coughed it right back up.
We welcome you back to the ballpark. Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus. Alex Faust, the former Colorado Rocky, Ryan Spilborghs. This is about what both teams have done in microcosm this season, right? Detroit being able to put up runs, and Minnesota ineffective pitching.
Yeah, I mean, you get out to a lead, and we've seen Minnesota in this last week. It's been really difficult for them. They're just trying to score runs. When they do score runs, they're not able to maintain the lead, and the Tigers just continue to fight back. So the thing about this division, it's hotly contested because these teams are always feeling like they're very evenly matched. So when you go back to the series that the Twins just had with the Royals, every game was tight.
Right back up the box, Larnach. And the flip made by Brisky for the first out.
They're going to come check out Brisky, make sure, see if he felt something. He's meeting up with the trainers. Yeah, he's pointing, looks like his hip. Yeah, you can tell something happened, whether he slipped after he fielded the ball. He's kind of shaking out that right leg.
It's actually fascinating when you walk onto a major league mound. It's not like a dirt mound you'd find at your local park. No. It's actually very hard. It's almost like rock, it feels like. And that's why you see these guys with these metal spikes trying to dig a little bit of dirt there. You see it just to get a little traction.
Yeah, well, it's clay, and that's what they use. It's, you know, these fields are so well manicured, and the mound is where, you know, fields crews spend their most time, the most time. Yeah, really awkward.
Buxton here.
And Twins need something good to happen.
Just as soon as they had something good happen. What did you say earlier? They can't have nice things?
Yeah, they're not allowed to have nice things right now.
Detroit entering, having won 7 of 9. Minnesota just dropped 3 of 4 to Kansas City. Buxton has scored 2 of the 4 runs for Minnesota. Even though it'll show 0 for 2 on his night. Buxton, high drive, left field, to the track, to the wall, gone! Byron Buxton with a solo shot. And he draws the Twins back within 1.
Byron Buxton, this ball's nasty. It's 108 off the bat, 40-degree launch angle. 400 feet, it's in the air for over 6 seconds. There we go, the Spartan. He's trying to rise Sparta right now. A nice day for Byron Buxton.
Took a couple days off from the team to deal with a personal matter, but returns to the lineup. Walked and scored in the 2nd. Reached on a fielder's choice. Got an RBI on a ground out in the 5th, and then this.
Yeah, this ball is crushed.
Let me tell you, ball arcing at that angle. You pointed at the launch angle. Ball's not going to carry on it, I like tonight.
No.
Julian, a 2-hit night.
For Buxton, that's his 135th career home run.
Poked up the middle by Julian. He'll hustle up the line and get thrown out by a half step. You know, just one more thing on Buxton, and it speaks to when the star players are in the lineup for the Twins. When he was in the lineup last season, the Twins were 55-47. When he wasn't, they were 6 games under 500. In a year where they finished 82-80. Those are the fine margins with all the injuries to their key players that have popped up over the years. Pitching change for Detroit. It's now a 1-run game once again. More look at that Buxton home run.
94 inside. Barrel gets to the baseball and he just caught him in the loop. Almost 400 feet and almost into the third deck.
Gives you an idea of the hang time on that ball. Man.
Over 6 seconds.
Will Vest enters for the Tigers as he faces Ty France. Quickly, it's 0-2.
Again, this gives you an idea of how the Tigers will use their bullpen. I mean, Will Vest, they use him as a closer. They've used him as all these different roles, but he's here to put out a fire.
Good numbers last year, after appearing in a career-high 69 games. France fouls another one off. This is one of those games where, well, fairly light crowd. Timberwolves are playing across the street. Up 4-1, you lose the lead. But if the Twins could keep battling here, as crushing as a loss to the Astros was last week, how much of a lift a win like this in a game like this could mean for them?
Ooh, well, I think Ty France just got an extra pitch.
Oh
my goodness.
Nearly made something out of it as he caught Brock Ballou. the first base umpire.
Brock's like, what? I just gave, I just gave you an extra life. There's just no way around it. Luckily, it didn't catch him in a worse spot.
Ball 3. The other way, in the air, down for a base hit. Knocked down by McKinstry. And if he doesn't get to that ball, that's going all the way to the corner, and who knows how many extra bases for France.
Good effort from Zach McKinstry in right field, but Ty France, nice piece of hitting. He fouled the last pitch off and then shoots this one into right field. But in order for Ty France to score from first, you're going to need a ball in the gap.
Gasper 0 for 2. Now 2 for 15 and 7 games played at the major league level this year. After a cup of coffee last season with the Red Sox. Traded in the offseason on Christmas Eve.
Perfect.
Fly ball foul.
We pointed this out earlier for the Twins. I mean, this is not a base stealing team, so they have to find ways, whether it's power. And they only have really 2 guys in the lineup that can steal. So there's no real threat for Will Vest. He doesn't have to worry about Ty France. He's not going to get much of a running start.
How are you?
Long time in the minor leagues for Mickey Gasper before getting an opportunity. 2-2. Popped up in the infield. Sweeney gives way to Baez. And the inning is over. But Byron Buxton has given the Twins some life. Towering solo homer to make it a 1-run game. 6-5 as we head to the 8th.
Friday Night Baseball on Apple TV Plus, sponsored in part by DQ, the official treat of MLB. Happy tastes good. And by Capital One. Capital One's donated over $1 million to the Jackie Robinson Foundation through its walk-offs program. $1,000 for each Capital One walk-off hit this season. Will there be a comeback and a walk-off for the Twins, or will the Tigers shut things down? Dingler, Sweeney, and Baez, 7, 8, and 9 for Detroit. Scott Blewett remains in the game for the Twins. One night for Dingler, huh?
3 for 3. His batting average right now is .414. He's 12 for 29 on the season.
Take that. 1 and 2 here. He homered in his first at bat of the season, which matched his total from his first 27 games with one swing. Made his debut last summer after Carson Kelly was traded to Texas just before the trade deadline. Easy to forget how the Tigers were sellers at the trade deadline last year as we take a look at pitching decisions presented by Sage.
You see a base hit in the 3rd inning for Dingler, then he pulls one to the left field, and then he ends up with an inside-out swing that gave the Tigers a lead. Made Spencer Torkelson very happy.
Can he go 4 for 4? 2 balls and 2 strikes. I think the crazy thing for the Tigers, which we really haven't touched on very much, is this is a very banged up team.
Yes.
Matt Vierling out with an injury. Manuel Margot, who was brought in to get some reps in the outfield, he's out.
You can't leave because there's nobody left.
No, he needs some attention. Ryan Jeffers, baseball caught him, and
you could hear Andy Fletcher teasing him. He's like, you can't go out of the game because there's nobody left.
Yeah, which is kind of true.
I mean, Gasper can come in, but they'd lose a DH.
Yeah, don't want to do that. So Christian Vasquez, remember, was lifted for a pinch runner in the 6th.
A lot of hockey players. Catcher's the closest we've got.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, wrap it up. It's still bleeding, but that's fine. No problem. The amount of abuse these guys take. Right on cue. Full count to Dingler. Here's the payoff. Dingler stays alive. Starting to dive into the injuries here for Detroit, and we're talking about the catcher position as you see that open wound still for Jeffers. Swing and a miss. Dingler down on strikes. Jeffers may need another visit from the trainer here.
Possibly a good-looking split finger for Blewett. Yeah, here he is. He's got it. Jeffers is like, hey, this thing is...
He's leaking oils, Billy. And again, Minnesota doesn't have another catcher right now.
Yeah, the only catcher they have is the DH. Gasper has the ability to play at multiple spots, so Gasper could come into the game.
I haven't done a game, now that both leagues have the DH, I haven't done a game where a team loses a DH, so that'd be a new one for me. You know they are going to do everything possible to not lose that.
Well, it's just a challenge. Because then you start messing up where, the pitcher spot comes in. Let's see where they are in the lineup. Jeffers' position would be leading off. So
right.
If that
Actually, look at all that blood on the pants there. I'm actually not familiar, Spilly, with the rule or policy then for any sort of injury like this and whether you're allowed to stay in the game.
What do you mean?
Like if you're bleeding.
Oh yeah, you're allowed to have blood
Okay.
baseball.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
it's actually encouraged. It looks cool.
One here to Trey Sweeney, looking for his first hit tonight. And there it is, right on cue, into the left center gap. Sweeney around first. This will get by Buxton. And Sweeney with a wide turn around second, but heads back to the bag.
Yeah, good decision to put on the brakes, but you could see this ball ends up getting right past Byron Buxton, leaves his feet. This is why, as an outfielder, so there's Buxton, you try never to leave your feet. This goes right under his glove, but good job from Trevor Larnach being there. So Trey Sweeney right out the gate. He's thinking extra bases. It's also in front of him, so you don't have to trust your third base coach.
You know what, that's an interesting point, and it may not apply in this scenario here with where Sweeney was trying around second, but AJ Hinch was actually telling us about that relationship these players have with Joey Cora, the third base coach. As Javi Baez takes upstairs, where this whole aggressive approach and getting buy-in from the players last year to know this is the risk tolerance we have.
Yeah, you can get thrown out at third by by a step. And that's okay, but you can't get thrown out by 20 feet.
I like the line that he gave us. If you're barely out, that means you were barely safe, maybe. So give it a shot if you're close. Joey Cora has certainly done that. Tricia?
Yeah, guys, you noticed when Sweeney got that double, he did a little bit of a celebration. Let me give you some background on what he does right here. You'll see it. That is the Bonesaw celebration. It's from the OG Spider-Man with Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man got into the ring with Bonesaw, remember? And that's where it originated from, and that's what the Tigers do now for a double.
Well, he's about to celebrate scoring a run. Javi Baez with a blistering line drive up the third base line. An RBI double, and Detroit is back up by 2.
Yeah, you're right. You just saw the Bonesaw from Javi Baez. Baez at the bottom of the lineup now for the Tigers. He gets a pitch, slider that stays inside. And coils his swing. Right past Willie Castro. All teammates with Team Puerto Rico. Double-double, you love it if you're the Tigers, your 8 and 9 hole hitters creating some offense.
And now every Tiger that's come to the plate has reached base. And that RBI double from Baez as Torres Swings over top of this one.
That's the amazing thing for the Tigers so far this year. They've been one of the better offensive teams in baseball.
Yeah, just looking at their, it's early yet, but still, season ranks 4th in average, 5th in slug, 3rd in OPS.
Yeah, they're also top 10 in walk rates. I mean, all those numbers add up to runs being scored.
Two and two to Torres. There are those ranks. And that's with a depleted lineup. Up the middle, off the mound, and it may have changed direction, forcing a tough play on Julian. He throws home. Jeffers is there. And Baez stays at third. You see the trajectory on this ball.
Yeah, you know, watching the Twins so far tonight, the defense has not been, and we know this, we go back to last year, near bottom of baseball, outs above average, but it's a little changeup off the end of the bat, ends up kicking up off the mound, and it creates some unique top spin, and Eddie tries getting behind it, but kicks off his heel as well. The Tigers have a chance to blow this one open.
Yeah. Popped up. Left side. And in foul ground. Castro has it. Minnesota committing their 10th error of the season in this game. That's top 5 most in baseball. There's a look at where Minnesota ranks in the advanced defensive metrics. That was entering tonight. So a foul out for Carpenter. Riley Green now.
Gave Gleyber Torres a single on that one.
Minnesota's actually committed 2 errors in the game. Throwing error from Wallner in the 5th. That got a run home. And then Kerry Carpenter with an error in the 7th. But the damage is limited to just 1 run in the inning after an RBI double from Baez, and it's 7-5 Tigers to the bottom of the 8th.
Time for one more Jackie Fact presented by Capital One. Jackie Robinson was named the National League MVP in 1949 after winning the league's batting title with a .342 average. Of course, April 15th we'll be celebrating Jackie Robinson Day across baseball. Defensive changes. Ryan Kreidler goes to center field, and Riley Green will move from center to left. So that takes Kerry Carpenter out of the game. And Minnesota down to their final 6 outs in a game that's dragged along. A lot of pitching changes, a lot of stoppages. Ryan Jeffers. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Will Vest, who works quickly, gets him on 3 pitches.
Now only the 5th strikeout for Detroit. There's the high fastball. That is such a difficult pitch, especially 2 strikes. You haven't seen, you haven't really gotten into the at bat. We know Jeffers suffered the foul ball off his thumb.
Wallner now as the lineup turns over.
Yes.
Reach base after getting grazed by a pitch from Reese Olson in the 5th. Came around to score on a Carlos Correa single.
See Wallner's boiling. He wanted Andy Fletcher to check the check swing with the 3rd base umpire. That's the one thing, hitters, you don't mind if you get a check swing call, but you don't want it from the home plate umpire.
2-2. Bouncing ball to second. Torres is there.
I think Matt Wallner has a chance to be something special for this Twins organization. I talked to Justin Morneau about Wallner. Loves him, loves the power. He's from Minnesota. Think about Tony Oliva, Joe Mauer. Highest OPS in their first 3 seasons. He's in that conversation. And he's not happy right now.
Well, you saw the company he has. Well, one of those guys is going to get a statue in the next couple of days out there, Mauer. Strike down the pipe to Castro.
My wife gives me that look when I don't take the trash out.
I think I have seen that actually once. You had me over at your place.
Yeah. I forgot to take out the trash. That was the look I got.
And then you'll never forget again.
What?
I hope. Better not.
You can feel it. I mean, the Twins dugout, they've been, you can feel the last couple innings, frustration, it's boiling over there.
You don't want to say this is a game they had in their grasp because it's not. It's a very competitive team that they're playing. But they had a 3-run lead and it evaporated quickly. Castro is gone. 1-2-3 eighth for Will Vest. And we head to the 9th with the Tigers leading by 2. because we talked about earlier the vibes for Detroit last year, not great over the summer. Young team, but started to put things together. Playoff odds, well, by September 19th, they had gone from nil, basically, to 50-50 in mid-September, and then they clinched on September 27th. They were sellers at the trade deadline as this first pitch will hit Spencer Torkelson, and he'll reach. They were 8 games under 500 on August 10th, 9.5 out of a playoff spot on August 23rd, and yet found a way.
Motor City Kitties ended up being such a fun story. It's carried over.
No doubt. Keith with a fly ball to left, sending Larnach to his right. And it's still just an incredibly young team, one of the youngest in baseball.
It really is, and we'll see Jackson Jobe tomorrow. He'll get the start for the Tigers, but I mean they've drafted well. They've made some trades. They traded for Trey Sweeney. They just put themselves in a really good position. You think back to Scott Harris and what he did once he came over. He was part of the San Francisco Giants when the Giants won a division in 2021, surprising the Dodgers. They won 107 games. Tigers have put it together. And you go to Baseball Reference and you can see like some probabilities for postseason. It's way too early to look at any sort of standings. It's a waste of your time. But the computers like the Tigers, just like they like the Twins still.
I'm glad you brought up Scott Harris, too. Because we were in Detroit back in early 2023 when they were in the midst of this rebuild, and we were talking a lot on that show about their prospects. As Colt Keith is retired here. Scott Harris overhauled the Tigers farm system and invested a lot in player development. That was a deficiency for a long while for the Tigers, and now it's become a strength.
That's what you have to do if you are after a couple years and we don't have the ability to tank anymore when it comes to wins and losses. It's now a lottery system, but when you're losing, you have to draft well. You can go back and think of the Spencer Torkelsons and Casey Mize, Riley Green. These were important draft picks. It might not have worked right away. It took a little bit of time.
High fly ball here from Dylan Dingler. And the inning is over. Well, if Minnesota wants a comeback, they're going to have the heart of their lineup coming up. Correa, Larnach, and Buxton, who scored 3 times tonight for the Twins. Bottom of the 9th when we come back. reality of the Minnesota Twins that these three guys all get talked about a lot because of how little they wind up playing together.
When they're on the field, it is something special. I mean, Carlos Correa, you want to get him on the field as much as possible. He's played 70% of the games dealing with plantar fasciitis. Then you have Byron Buxton and all his injuries, and then of course Royce Lewis. You know, second, third week into spring training, he ends up hurting his hamstring. And now for the Tigers, they bring in Tommy Kahnle. Kahnle already has a save on the season.
Began his career in the Rockies organization. 6 years with the New York Yankees. Correa to lead things off, Larnach and Buxton to follow.
The amazing thing about Tommy Kahnle is he's going to throw his changeup 85% of the time. You're almost expecting him to throw a fastball, and he never does. The hardest thing to ask a hitter to do is sit on changeup. He threw 28 consecutive changeups in the postseason last year.
.50 appearances out of the bullpen for the Yankees last season. Correa takes low and away, ball 2.
From Correa, this is where, you know, his experience and his pedigree, postseason games, he knows the situation right here. It's not about a homer or taking a big swing. It's about getting it on base. Have to get the leadoff base runner on.
Correa with a fly ball to right. McKinstry coming in, 1 gone. Correa 1 for 4 on the evening. Bring up Larnach, also 1 for 4 tonight. Another guy at the heart of this Twins order that hasn't been able to string together hits that much this year. Everyday player for the first time last season at .259. Twins trying to avoid a 4-10 start. Tigers looking to win their 8th out of 10. Hard hit ball, base hit to right. Larnach is aboard for the Twins in the 9th. And the tying run will come to the plate in the form of Byron Buxton. Our StatCast breakdown of the game brought to you by Google Cloud.
Well, Byron's one of the best hitters in baseball on fastball since 2021. The slugging percentage, it is red. And tonight he ended up getting a fastball right in that happy spot. 108 off the bat, 394 feet. 40-degree launch angle, but for Buxton, he knows he's probably not going to see a fastball from Tommy Kahnle.
Big swing from Buxton out in front of that changeup.
The Twins are, I mean, if anybody can run into one, it's Byron Buxton.
He scored 3 of the 5 Twins runs tonight, but now is in an 0-2 hole. 0-2. Buxton is down on strikes.
It's amazing. True to form, Tommy Kahnle has yet to throw a fastball this inning. His best pitch clearly is the changeup. He sells it so much with the arm angle and the hand speed, and hitters are still waiting. Is he going to throw a fastball or not? And so it forces you to be in between.
First pitch swinging, dribbler, third base side for Julian. He'll reach with no trouble. Infield single for Edouard Julien. And the tying run is aboard for the Twins.
Still some life for the Twins. I mean, any way that this can come through for them, they'll take it right off the end of the bat. And Ty France, who's been swinging the bat exceptionally well in the last couple days, he comes up. You know, Tommy Kahnle in his career, he's had many save opportunities, has not been clean at saving them. He only has 9 career saves in over 20 opportunities.
Harrison Bader will pinch run for Edouard Julien. Ty France certainly has home run power. And he went for it. Each of the last 2 days he's homered, and he has 2 hits tonight. Now the Twins are down to their final strike. Bader, who leads the Twins and runs batted in, is at first. Larnach at second. Ty France with homers in back-to-back days in an 0-2 hole. Up the middle. Base hits. Larnach around third. Bader slides in at third. France with an RBI single to keep the Twins alive.
Viva la France. 3 knocks for Ty France tonight. That one's huge. Another changeup. He just tries to hit it up the middle. He does it. Ball had eyes. And then for Harrison Bader to go first and third, there was a little bit of a risk there, but it was worth it. Kind of waiting for Mickey Gasper to have his big league moment.
0 for 3 tonight. Takes low and in. Mickey Gasper does not have an extra base hit in his career.
What a story this would be on a Friday night.
Is there still some fight left in these Twins? Back to a 1-run game. Check swing roller, first base side, off the back, Torkelson, and he'll get the out to end the ball game. A late comeback falls short, and the Tigers take the first game of this series. It winds up being the longest 9-inning game of the season.
And excruciating for the Twins. I mean, it has been a real tough stretch for them to start this season off. You can kind of just tell the look from this group. They're just hoping something good will happen. Another changeup from Tommy Kahnle in a check swing. That's how it ends for the Twins tonight. They had a 3-run lead.
Well, a victory for the Tigers that just keeps their momentum rolling. Now 8-5, first in the division. They've had 3 consecutive series victories, and they open up this series against the Twins in the win column. Really nice night for the rookie Dylan Dingler, who winds up with 3 hits for the Tigers.
Yeah, you kind of love this. He's getting an opportunity. There was an injury to Jake Rogers, and for Dingler, I mean, not only his ability to swing the bat, he did an excellent job tonight blocking balls in the dirt, putting the right digits down. Have the go-ahead base hit. Really impressive. I mean, they love his at-bats right now, and you know, at one point tonight he was hitting 418.
Pretty impressive stuff for the young man drafted in 2020 by the Tigers in the second round. And what a story they continue to be. And on the other end of the spectrum, this Minnesota Twins team is still searching for answers in the early going, and none appear to be materializing. So Detroit will improve to 8-5 on the season. Minnesota drops to 4-10. And after last year where they missed the playoffs, things not going well, but things are going really well in Motown right now. Trisha downstairs with Dylan Tingle.
That's absolutely right, Alex. All right, Dylan, a 3-hit night for you, a very strong start to the season. What type of confidence are you stepping up to the plate with right now?
No, yeah, a lot of confidence right now. So hopefully carry that through the next couple of weeks, have good at-bats, stick to a plan, and go from there.
All right, tell me about this win for this group. You guys were down 4 runs. You plated 4 runs in 1 inning. Is that just the grittiness that this team has shown from the postseason last year rolling into this season?
Yeah, we're putting up some great at-bats right now. I know over the past week or so we've had some big innings, and even when, you know, we're down like that, you know, we've been able to put together really good at-bats and kind of, you know, fight back, you know.
You have stepped in seamlessly in the midst of losing Jake Rogers. What has allowed you to step in and do what you have done, not just at the plate, but behind the plate? Because we heard Skubal singing your praises the other day.
Yeah, I got a good foundation last year when I came up, and I feel like I earned the trust of some of the guys that I was able to catch. And, you know, a lot of work with them this spring training as well, and kind of carry it over.
What's special about this group this season? Hot start to the season.
And we're never out of it, you know, we're never out of it. Like tonight, go down early, and we're able to call back.
We love it. We appreciate the time, Dylan. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Never out of it, Alex. Back to you.
The comeback Cats, as they come back from a 4-1 deficit to take this game tonight, 7-6 over the division rival Twins. Detroit's hot start continues. The struggles for the Twins continue on a chilly night in Minneapolis. predictions presented by BetMGM. Well, 2 out of 3 hit. Carlos Correa got an RBI. The total, we hit the over here today in a pretty competitive back-and-forth game, but Torque, even without the RBI, I think acquitted himself pretty well. Byron Buxton also did in his return after taking a couple of games off. The Twins, boy, they need every run they can get, and Buck provided 3 of them.
Yeah, he did. He had a good night tonight. He ends up hitting a homer, but late in the game, it becomes a big matchup between Byron Buxton and Tommy Kahnle. So you go to 7th inning, and for Byron, you know, he spins around a fastball. It's 94 miles an hour under his hands. This is one of the league's best fastball hitters. But then you get to the 9th inning, and you get the matchup against Tommy Kahnle. And Tommy Kahnle is not going to throw a fastball. He is changeup heavy. First pitch changeup, second pitch changeup foul, quickly 0-2, and then just a wipeout, another one. So 3 pitches, that's it. And for the Twins, who are trying to find an offensive identity, it's going to take some time. This is still early in the year, but you could feel, like we could feel as we're watching the offenses, their dugout is feeling the pressure right now.
A lot of pressure on this Minnesota team early in the season. Meanwhile, it's not exactly pitching chaos because everybody kind of knows about it now, but it's still this strategy that the Tigers employ with their bullpen. It's still very effective. You take a look at the pitching box score here with Reese Olson going 4 1/3, and then the bullpen picked him up.
Yeah, and it kind of played the way that A.J. Hinch wanted. He had Hannafy ready to go for a key portion of the lineup. He ends up working himself out of it, and then you go to Bo Brisky, Will Vest, fantastic, and then you saw Tommy Kahnle. Tigers are tough. Tigers are tough.
First of a 6-game road trip for Detroit. 2 more here, and then they will visit the Milwaukee Brewers in what should be a fascinating interleague matchup a little bit later on in the week. Next week, we will be north of the border in Toronto, still basking in the glow of the Vladdy Jr. signing, I'm sure, for Blue Jays fans as they take on the Seattle Mariners. Or the Twins will take on the Braves. And our coverage will get underway at 6:30 Eastern for both games here on Apple TV+. For other scores, highlights, and the latest news from around Major League Baseball, check out the Sports tab in the Apple News app. Thanks to Tech Manager Kelly Bournes, Production Manager Narissa Brown, who do a phenomenal job going above and beyond every week for us here with our crew traversing the country and across the border next week. For our entire crew, for Ryan Spielbergs, Trisha Whitaker, and everybody behind the scenes, this is Alex Faust. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week from Toronto.